We take a moment to pause. Lying down on the floor with our eyes closed, we allow our shoulders to soften down. We give permission for the muscles of our face to relax. And checking in with our hips. Noticing how they sink heavy on the floor. Noticing the alignment of our head. And letting our awareness come to the center of our body, where our breath is located. As we feel our breath move through the center of our body, notice it expand outwards, not just through the front of our body, but through the back of our body as well. Feel our breath expand out through the sides of our body. As our breath continues to expand outward from the center of our body, notice how it expands down to the base of our hips and to the top of our lungs. As it expands out, notice the areas that don't move as well. Maybe spending a little more time with our breath in those areas that don't move. Feeling the softening with each exhale and the expansion with each inhale. As we check in with any areas that we may have had tension or lacked movement, I want you to notice the new freedom that you created through awareness and breath. From this place, we're going to begin to move. Let's bend our knees, placing our feet on the mat. And then we're going to draw our right knee into our chest and give it a hug. Put our foot back down, switching legs, drawing our left knee in, give it a hug. And release and switch. And then just continue to flow as it feels good for you, at a pace that honors you. And then as it feels right, I want you to start walking your feet towards the front of your mat, just a little bit at a time. As you put a foot down, maybe extend your leg a little bit further. And we're going to walk our feet out, keeping the shape of our low back, just to a place that honors us. Some of us will be able to get our legs fully extended, making sure that we're keeping our low back with this natural curve. And then slowly start to walk our feet back in. And then once our feet make it all the way back in, let our arms relax out. Walk our feet out a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. And then we're going to rock our knees side to side, starting with a small movement. And then gradually letting our movement expand. And then begin to start lifting one hip up off the mat. Again, expanding that movement. Then coming back to center, let's roll to one side, and we're going to come to standing at the front of our mat. As we find our standing position, feet are hip width distance apart and feet are pointing forward towards the front of our mat. Let's inhale, sweep our hands up to the ceiling. And exhale, bend our knees, hinge from our hips, and fold. Step our right foot back, lunge. Lowering our right knee down to the mat, followed by our foot. We're going to walk our hands back, straightening our front leg to what feels good for us. Then walking our hands forward, bending our front knee. And then straightening our front leg. As we flow, I want you to listen to how this feels in your body. And you're going to have the option to extend this into something that fits your body and its needs today. You can start to lift your hands up when you bend your front knee. And take your hands to your front thigh. You can reach them up to the ceiling. Whatever feels good for you. You can lift your back knee up off the floor if you like. Finding the same flow, straightening your leg and bending your knee. And keep your hands on the mat as you flow, or you can lift your hands up to the ceiling. Again, finding your variation in whatever combination fits your body. Maybe it's a combination of lifting and lowering your back knee. Let's find a couple more times. And then meet up with our right knee on the floor, and then let our left knee come down to the floor as well. We're going to take our right foot forward, and we're going to find that same flow on the other side. Walking our hands back, and then walking our hands forward. Starting off with just a gentle version. Knowing that this side might be a little bit different than the other side, as well as its needs. Exploring your variations. Let's find a couple more times. Meeting up with our left knee on the floor and our hands down. Let's step our right knee back and our left foot forward. And then we're going to turn our right foot. So we're going to pivot on our right knee and turn our right foot over to the left side of our mat. Then cartwheel our hands up to a kneeling warrior two position. Reaching our hands forward, take our left forearm to our thigh, reach our right hand up to the ceiling. Holding and breathing. Let your right shoulder soften down away from your ear. And then slowly come up, taking our left hand, reach it up to the ceiling for a reverse warrior. Letting our right hand relax down. And let our left shoulder soften down away from our ear. And then we're going to cartwheel our left hand down to the floor on the inside of our left leg. Take our right hand up to the ceiling. Let our shoulders soften down away from our ear. And then bringing our hand back up again. So our left hand comes up and our right hand comes down. Focusing on our left shoulder, softening down away from our ear. And then focus on your chest lifting. Feeling maybe from the back of our sternum, that mid part of our back engage and help lift our chest up. And then bring our left hand down. We're going to place both hands on the floor, pivot on our back knee, lift our back knee up, step our front foot back and our right foot forward. Letting our left knee come down, pivot on our left knee so that our left toes come over to the right side of our mat and release our foot down. Feel the outer right hip hug in as we cartwheel our hands up to warrior two. Feeling opening on the inside of our right leg, the inside of our left hip. Feel our shoulder blades engage on our back, our arms extend out. And then reach our right hand forward. Bend our elbow, take our elbow to our front thigh. Take our back hand, reach it up to the ceiling. Letting our shoulders soften down away from our ear. And then slowly come back to warrior two, reaching our palms up. Right hand comes up to the ceiling. Left hand relaxes down. Focusing on our shoulders, softening down away from our ear. Cartwheeling our hands down, let's take our right hand towards the floor on the inside of our leg while our left hand comes up. If our hand doesn't reach the floor today, that's okay. Just take your hand on the inside of your thigh and press it away. Left hand still reaches up. Shoulder softens away from our ear. And then cartwheel our hands back up to reverse warrior. This time focusing on mid-back, engaging, and our heart lifting up. And bringing our arms parallel to the ground for warrior two again. And then bring our hands down to the floor, pivot on our back knee. Then sweep our right foot or walk our right foot out to the side and back. From here, walk your knees together so that knees are touching. And then we're going to lift our right knee, cross it behind our left and put it down on the mat. Walk our hands back towards our knees. Before we go back too far, I want you to notice where your spine is at. Start to move into a little bit of a cow pose, opening the front of our body. Then walk your hands back to what feels good for you. Now, we're not going to go all the way back because we're going to find movement. So keeping our tailbone pointing towards the back of our mat, let's reach our hips back and then come back up. Reaching our hips back and come back up. So we're still moving towards that end range of motion, but not quite there yet. Let's find one more time, reaching our hips back and then coming back up. Walk our hands back to the center of our mat as they move forward a little bit, unwinding our legs. Knees together. Lift our left knee, cross it behind our right, put it down on the floor. Walk our hands back probably about halfway. And then check in with our spine. Looking for that cow pose within our spine. Let's begin to sink our hips back. It's okay if your front knee lifts. And then come forward. Take our hips back. And then come forward. Let's find one more time. And then come up, crawl forward, unwinding our legs. And then placing our hands underneath our shoulders, let's rock our hips side to side. Bringing our hips back to center, let's curl our toes under, lift our knees, find a short downward facing dog, and then walk our feet to the center of our mat and find forward fold. Bending our knees, rise all the way up. Draw our hands together in front of our heart. Find a single point focus. So a place directly in front of us that doesn't move, that we can gaze at, and we can allow that spot to remain in focus while everything else around it remains slightly blurry. Then let our arms relax at our side. Let our shoulders soften. And I want you to keep your eyes on that single point, but I want you to turn your head side to side. Only moving our head to a place where we can keep that one spot in focus. You can go as quick or as slow as you like. Movement doesn't have to be big. Bringing our head back to center. Let's step our left foot forward slightly. So maybe to the point where our right toes line up with our left heel a little bit. Now from here, we're going to move our head side to side in a very small range of motion, but quickly. Keeping our gaze on that spot. And then hold. Taking our left foot back, we're going to step our right foot forward. Heel and toe are about aligned. Doesn't have to be perfect, just generally speaking aligned. Weights balanced in both feet. Knees are soft. And then shake our head quickly in a small range of motion. Bringing our head back to center. Let's step our right foot back. And then take a moment to pause, checking in that our knees are soft, that our hips are stable. And then slowly shift our weight to our left foot as we lift our right heel. And then switch, right heel down, left heel lifts. And then put it down and switch. And switch, continuing to move side to side. Notice as our weight shifts, do our hips begin to shift as well, or are we just moving our weight over to one foot to the other? We're looking for the ability to keep hips stable. Listen to how our feet respond to taking weight and how our legs respond, how our hips respond. And if we feel like our hips and legs and feet are responding well to this movement, I want you to start lifting one foot up. As you lift a foot, pause. Notice how the hips and legs and feet respond to challenging our balance a little bit. Notice how the core is involved. If you're not feeling core involved, start to add arms with your movement. Opposite elbow to opposite knee lifts. Still keeping the pause. By drawing our elbow forward, we're drawing our shoulder forward a little bit, which encourages a cross-action movement. Remembering that this is a practice of mindfulness. To be mindful is to listen to how our body responds to the movement that we're asking. If we want to be challenged a little bit more, lift a foot, extend your leg, bend your knee, and then lower down. Switching sides, extend your leg, bend your knee, lower down. If you want to be challenged a little bit more, start to extend your arm with your leg. And we're challenging that mindfulness just as much as we are our body. Find one more time each side. And release. Let's walk our feet out a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. And we're going to rotate side to side. Coming back to center, walk our feet back in. Let's grab a seat in the center of our mat. Coming down any way you like. As we find that seated position, let's rise up tall through our spine. If we struggle to rise up tall through our spine, place a towel or a block underneath your hips. Closing our eyes, taking a moment to check in. Allowing this seated position to be comfortable for you. And if it's not comfortable, find a variation that is. Maybe that means you're extending your legs, maybe you're sitting on your heels, whatever variation feels good for you. Something that takes very little effort. And come back to our breath. Feeling its origin in the center of our chest or the center of our body, below our chest. And feel our breath expand out equally to the front, the back, and the sides. Notice where we find resistance. Now, the areas that we find that are possible resistance or areas that don't move, I want you to notice, are you bracing through those areas for any particular reason? And common reasons that will brace through an area is from either a previous injury or we think we need to stabilize that area by creating rigidity. So check in to see if any of those areas within our body that are not moving with our breath, that are located around the center of our torso. See if you can create some movement there and notice if that's the stability that you need to create through rigidity. Meaning, are you bracing that area because you think you need to? Maybe you're bracing that area unknowingly. Allowing our breath to really expand. Taking in big, full breaths and allowing a full exhale. Now we're going to create movement with this breathing pattern, this full inhale and exhale. On our next exhale, I want you to round your back, just like you would if you're moving into cat pose, but doing it seated. Then I want you to pause and inhale into the back of your body and notice your movement through your ribs. And on our next inhale, let's rise up tall, lift our chest up, opening the front of our body. And then exhaling, looking for ease that we can create. Inhaling, noticing our ribs movement to the front of our body. It's usually a lot easier. And then on our next exhale, come back to a neutral spine. And then inhale, lean over to the left. So our left shoulder and left hip move towards each other. Inhaling through the right side of our ribs, listening to how they move, how all of our ribs move. Letting our inhale and exhale remain complete. On our next exhale, bring our ribs back to neutral. Inhaling, nice big deep breath. Exhale, draw our right shoulder and right hip towards each other, lengthening to the left side of our body. Inhale deeply to the left side of our ribs. On our next exhale, rise back up to a neutral spine. Open our eyes, and those come to lying down on our back as we set up for Shavasana. Remembering this is your variation of Shavasana, making it your own, supporting your body. Allowing our eyes to close and our whole entire body to feel supported. Drawing our awareness back to our body. Feeling our breath begin to deepen. And bend our knees. Slowly roll over to our right side. And press ourselves up. Finding our way back to a comfortable seat. Rising up tall through our spine, feeling our shoulders relax down. The muscles of our face soft. Bringing our hands together in front of our heart, sealing in all that we found in this practice. This practice of breath, this practice of movement, balance, stability, letting go. Taking it all as a gift that we place in our hearts, that we take with us off of our mat. Namaste.